Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Intel. It is time for another update, and today we focus only within the smaller time frame. For context, we have here a larger 1-2 setup that we have been tracking. We have pushed perfectly into the last level of support and created a nice reversal to higher prices that I am once again tracking as a wave 1 to the upside. Yeah, I'm looking for yet another 1-2 setup. Now, within this structure, we would expect to reach at least the $35.5 level before creating the reversal to the upside in a wave 3. We expect that, but I do not provide a guarantee that it will happen. Yeah, this was a similar pattern we have been tracking on the micron chart. It didn't reach the area of support and extended directly higher within a massive wave 3 to the upside. I'm not denying the possibility of this happening here as well. It's just not necessarily the most common outcome, and I am looking still for this area of support to be reached before creating the extension in the wave 3. Now, in this area, we have been looking also for a possible extension of this yellow structure of this wave 1, and we have quite a few options in which this could occur, but primarily we have been focusing on this green interpretation, where we would form this as a 5-wave pattern. And I do have to say, if this is to play out, we would need to be prepared for extensions even beyond this next wave to the upside within this wave 5, because we would have a 5-wave pattern in this area, and we have been looking to form a leading diagonal within this wave 1. If we have a 5-wave pattern, this would not be expected to be a top within this structure, but either an extension of this wave 3 or a wave A within a larger wave 5 to the upside in this structure. Both interpretations could work out. I'm not here to necessarily pick between them, but to outline that an extension in this green interpretation would imply even further extensions. Now, within this area, we have been looking for potentially the wave 2 in yellow to have already started, and we have been looking for at least another low to form within this area to reset this previous low at the very least, because we had identified an initial 5-wave move to the downside, which was strongly suggesting that after a 3-wave correction, we should expect trend continuation within at least another 5-wave move to the downside. Now, this has now been fulfilled. Yeah, in the previous video, I did provide you this area of resistance. We had already topped within this wave 4, and we were looking for one more low to have a pattern full within a potential wave C in this structure. Now, to be clear, within this idea of an A, B, C pattern, I wouldn't need any additional extensions lower to have this wave 4 in green complete. Previously, it was strongly suggested to us that this wouldn't have been the bottom for this wave 4, but now that we have formed a reset, we have a 3-wave pattern instead of a 5-wave pattern, which is applicable, which is a full count within a wave 4. So we are going to still look for continuation to higher prices within this green interpretation, within an extension. We even have much better proportions between the wave 2 and the wave 4 currently, but within the yellow structure, I am now going to look for this to have been, instead of the complete wave C to the downside, a wave 1 to the downside, part of an even larger wave C. Yeah. Now, for this interpretation, we no longer need this area of resistance internally that we had for the wave 4, and by the way, we have extended very beautifully here, right? We had an A, B, C structure, exactly as we have been expecting in this diagonal pattern. Within this wave 5, we even had an area of support, which was going to suggest, if broken in a sustained manner, that we would get the extension in a more direct fashion, that we wouldn't get a reset to higher prices. We have broken that. We followed through our expectations very nicely, cannot really complain here. And now I would focus on the next area of resistance, which would be once again for a potential 1-2 setup within this area. If we manage to break here the 78.6% retracement, it would be a rather strong signal that this structure would not succeed in forming the next wave to the downside, and that we would need to be prepared potentially even for a reset, although it is not a guarantee from my side. Now, if you enjoy these updates and if you enjoy the roadmaps that we provide during these videos, I would strongly appreciate if you would also leave a like on the video, which helps us grow, which helps us provide even more such content. Now, I am watching within this wave 2 correction to build an ABC structure ideally, but primarily to have a 3-wave pattern unfold into this area of resistance before extending to even lower prices. At this point, we do have a 3-wave pattern in place within this structure, which is really enough to consider the minimum expectations fulfilled, although it does seem a bit unlikely simply based on the look of it, based on also how small it is, that this would be the top within the wave 2, that it wouldn't extend into a larger correction, also because within this structure we have a smaller pattern, a smaller correction than we have had in the internal corrections in this move to the downside. So at this point, I do still strongly prefer that we extend a bit more, and if we are to push directly lower, I might even look for an extension of this wave 5 we have already been tracking, yeah? That could also still work out in a larger A, B, C pattern that I cannot rule out. Now, I also want to point out, at this point, we have a 3-wave pattern to the downside. I would be able to look even beyond the top we have within this structure for a wave B correction. Yeah, overshoots can happen. It could extend into a flat correction, which is something we need to be aware, but primarily above the $49.3, we would be able to look with much higher probabilities for a direct breakout. Yeah, we would get out of this pressure for a potential 1-2 setup within this yellow structure. And now we can track here in the internal time frame, in the smaller time frame, an initial 5-wave move to the upside. So far, there is no strong evidence this would succeed in forming the 5-wave pattern, so we have to be skeptical, but I would also use the area of support I would be tracking for evidence that this structure will fail ultimately. And currently, I would be watching possibly for something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to be building within this area. Yeah, if we go here within the 5-minute time frame, we could consider this to be somewhat of a scenario. I do not have anything better to call it. Yeah, it's a scenario. It's really unreliable within this small time frame. But if we want to look for the first level of support, we would be watching here the $45.4 level for continuation to higher prices. We have reached that, but once again, this is not a reliable structure to me. I would not be able to even remotely suggest that a break below the last level of support would not allow this structure to extend to higher prices. Yeah, we could see something like a 1, 2, and this could be an A, B, C structure that could extend higher. Sure, it could be that this all is just an A, B, C structure and we get a larger A, B, C pattern to extend to higher prices within the yellow resistance area. Yeah, I cannot rule that out either. Ultimately, we would expect typically to see another high within this area, but within such small time frames, a simple distortion could throw everything out the window, any count, any scenario we would be tracking, and the distortion doesn't even need to be apparent, which is why I always suggest to zoom out and focus on the levels of support and the levels of resistance. And for now, sure, below the 50% retracement, the $44.7, we could be looking for something more bearish, but it's not an ultimate level. It's not something that wouldn't allow me to still look for this structure to extend higher. It would be something that wouldn't allow me to look for this to be a reliable impulse anymore, and that is about it. Now, remember, within this wave 5 in green, we are only looking to build an ABC pattern, so we do not really need that impulse anyway. We do not even need a 5-wave pattern to form within this initial movement to the upside. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoy our content and you want to support us directly, check out our channel membership where you even get access to a couple of cool perks. Other than that, let me know what else you would like me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.